Hello, Blaze. My name is Koyoshi, and I'll just say one thing. Welcome back to my 200% playthrough of Mario Kart World for Nintendo Switch. No, it's not above. We are doing multiplayer, then, even though I said I probably wouldn't do it. So, in the last video, we left off, what else could I say? Trying to unlock all of the characters, but we didn't really get any luck, and we kind of didn't really get anything to happen, and yeah, we just kind of got sad. So yeah, now I've come up with a different plan instead, which is a little bit better. It's a little bit different. Involves doing a versus race by myself. Now, I think I mentioned that I could do this before, but before, initially, when I did a specific setup using this, I swear I could not get Kamek to show up for my life, but I've figured out a new trick on how to actually do this loop properly, and a unique thing that I found, actually two unique tips that I've done to increase the character spawn rate, so you can get turns more quickly. So for those of you who are unaware why we're even doing this, well, I'll just mention. There is an item called the Kamek Orb that is extremely rare for some reason. The only way to get it to spawn is to basically get hit by Kamek over and over and over and over again. So you're probably wondering, why are we both playing Spike? Well, because if we get one of the Kamek characters as the character we're playing, then that character will basically be unable to get anything done. And what I mean by that, I guess I should just say, if that character is the specific character that gets transformed by Kamek, then they won't be able to be transformed into that character because the game will think, oh, we can't just transform them into the same character. That would be ridiculous. So, yeah. So, basically, my goal with using two characters is to get one a set distance apart, and then we basically just drive backwards for like minutes. And because I'm a bit worried, I'm going to do this the safer way, which is to wait and then drive. You can actually drive on a little bit more faster to get in temps sooner, but there's a problem with that, because you might not be able to turn around in time, and this kind of messes with me if we do this for too long. So, I guess I should say, I initially did a video trying to get this done. It had to get cut out because I was on this track for, not kidding, an hour and didn't even get more than one Kamek to show up. I think I got like one or two, and then I just kind of gave up. Keep in mind, even with this segment, the RNG is still buzzed. Sometimes you'll just get really unlucky and not get Kamek for a bit. Alright, the big difference that I've changed, though, is this is what we do after we get Kamek now. So, once you get Kamek, previously, we just stayed in and did stuff. See, now we got Rocky Ranch first try, of course. That's actually part of the reason why we use Spike and not somebody else. If you use a common character, that removes the odds that they will be the transformed character. That's what you'll get transformed into. So yeah, by doing that, we already got Rocky Wrench unlocked. That was like 4 minutes, and we already got him unlocked. Anyways, the big difference that I added was actually what happens after we get Kamek. So, what will happen is basically dependent on which character you have. If you did not get an unlockable character, you can actually just leave out right away and then quit out of the game entirely. If we unlock a character, however, what we want to do instead is we want to first go into the menu just to confirm that character is unlocked, back out of that menu, and then this is the newest thing I added. This, I believe, was from a different YouTuber who suggested I do this, but you actually want to back out of the game entirely. Yeah, that's right, you hoax. we're resetting the game. I mean, we have to reset up our setup, but in exchange, this removes a hidden barrier that the developers never really tell you about for some reason, where basically, after you get Kamek, normally you have to wait like 15 to 30 minutes at supposedly random before you can get Kamek again. This is really stupid, and also we're doing Pianta next because he's the next most popular spawn in the next area we're going. Anyways, basically, every time we get Kamek, if it's not one we want, we can just leave immediately and just completely reset the game entirely. And every time we go back in, it redoes the RNG segment, and this makes Kamek show up a lot sooner than intended. Normally it takes a lot longer for him to show up, but with this we can just do other stuff much more easily. Also, you don't have to wait for like the second nut to come in. You can do this on any set of item boxes. Any set of item box will do. So yeah, basically, if you do not get what you need, you just immediately leave and try again. Previously, our goal was to just keep staying in until we've unlocked stuff. Okay. Otherwise, though, you probably already know that the strategy is going to be somewhat similar to what we've done before. Basically, our goal is to play with 2 people, because by doing this, we can force Kamek to appear a lot sooner. And then, by refreshing our RNG, by getting Lakitu to reset us, we can basically get it to where we will always get a thing to show up. I know I can also use these items, but it's easier to just get a reset. The goal is to basically just keep doing this until we get Kamek on each track. This will be uncut, by the way, for a good amount of minutes, because I want to prove that this version of the trick is actually faster. And just to show you, for fun, how long it actually is taking me to get Kamek. Depending on the setup, it might take over an hour, but I trust you, if we do this right, it will take less time than that. Wait a bit. And yes, this trick only really works well because Lakitu has a new feature only in this game where automatically turn you around if you are going the wrong way for too long. A little weird, but it's true. And you need Lakitu to reset your position too. If you do not do that, you will simply have no chance of getting the Kamek. Your hint, by the way, is that you're getting greens and reds most commonly, and shells, and also like ice powers and stuff. If you're getting those items, that means you can potentially get Kamek. Other than that, before this loop, I was only getting Kamek once every half an hour or so, and it happened pretty early on, and then I wouldn't get Kamek for another half hour. But now, with this new strategy, force him to show up a lot more frequently, and also get him back much sooner than if we'd done this any other way. And additionally, by removing one of the character options he has for transformation, heavily increase the odds that we actually get to where we want. By the way, if you think you're too far away, you can also just keep trying for a minute. So yeah, I'm gonna show this uncut first for each first attempt, just to show you how TS it takes, and I think once I am done using the reload strat, I'll probably have to change this zip. Okay, well that banana was fair enough. Means it would probably... Just so you know, although this segment does make Kamek at least appear a bit more frequently, it's still a rare item. It's still going to sometimes take forever to show up in the menus at all, let alone actually get used. Okay, we're seeing it again. I always like to pay attention to the reels. If Kamek doesn't show up on them, it's a good chance we're probably not the right distance away. The only reason why we pick 50cc is just so that if for some reason we get very, very unlucky with Kamek, we could probably get him to show up before the end of the race. Otherwise, it can just take a little while. Otherwise, I hope you guys don't mind us doing this for like a few minutes, but this is the only way we can unlock characters very fast. Keep in mind, if Kamek actually shows up and for some reason we remove it, we need to count that attempt as if we failed normally. Which means we'll have to immediately restart it again, because, again, once the item appears on the rails, Kamek will not show up for a good amount of time. I'm not sure why Nintendo implanted it, but it's just weird. Even without that effect, though, it would be nice to at least have Kamek show up slightly more frequently. You'd think they would at least do that. It would make it a lot easier to get this darn item to show up. If you do get cut to show up and it's pretty ready in the race, you do need to make sure that you fire it right away, or else you might it's by the end. And of course, you want to turn around very fast. This is how you get more attempts at Kamek. Actually. I'm showing you this, even though we could cut it out, because again, this just proves that sometimes Kamek doesn't always like to show up right away. In my past few attempts, I've gotten him to show up within a couple of minutes, easily. And now he's just not showing up again. That's strange, because I'm pretty sure I did the reset trick properly. Again, sometimes Kamek just refuses to show up for some reason. I don't know what causes it. If you get bored, you can always just reset the full race again. That might be what we have to do again. Just like completely reset the RNG again and try to get to show up. By the way, if you are just like starting from an or whatever, you can probably just get whatever acceleration you want, because except for certain ones, you're probably not going to really get any accelerations that are important. Wow. This is at least several eyes and we still haven't gotten them. What is with this energy? By the way, if you ever get triple reds, do not use them. I use them immediately after using Kamek, or Or using Kamek until they're like done, because otherwise you'll mess it up immediately afterwards. Alright, don't worry, I'm not gonna show this drill for too much longer. I just wanted to show you guys that sometimes it can take a little while. Wait. Actually. That wasn't just a weird bug setup. There's actually an invisible timer. If you don't move for a certain amount of time, it ends the race automatically, but you can actually extend this timer further by moving the character every, like, 5 or 10 minutes or so. It restarts the timer so that it recognizes, oh, you're driving, so we're never going to have the invisible timer happen now. So it'll just immediately restart it. And I think this is bugged. Alright, so if it gets really bugged and the thing just really doesn't want to give you Kamek, again, probably the best way to make sure this gets fixed is just go home, close the software, and completely refresh the RNG so that you hopefully get on a better pattern, and you can basically just do this over and over again. Generally, if you do this, Kamek can show up generally within 2 to 4 minutes almost every time, but as you saw there, I did the exact same thing and did not work. But anyways, I'm gonna be right back now until we actually get Kamek to show up. Okay, so I think the problem was I wasn't the right distance away, so here we are, we finally got Kamek to show up. So let's see what happens now. Again, we get Kamek first try. See, because Pianta was already in our Turbuster, or rather the one that were controlled, the game wasn't going to give us Pianta, so it gave us Kamek instead. So just by doing that, we've already gotten 2 characters unlocked. And it only actually took like an extra 2 minutes, and I was able to get it pretty quickly, so it didn't really take long. Again, since we unlocked something, we're going to go in to make sure we can confirm that it's unlocked. Then, we're going to go home, and we're going to quit out of the race entirely again. Except this time, we're going to go back into the race again. And this time, we're going to do something completely different. Unfortunately, this next one is a bit random, unfortunately. There's just too many various options that can happen, and there's not a lot you can do about it. You'll just randomly get the other characters occasionally in this one. This one can just really be screwy. So, of course, we're still doing the multiplayer set like we did before. But, this time, instead of picking Piñata, we're just going to pick someone that's common in the track that we're going for. Based off of what I found out, Drivable seems like the best pick for this next race, because he has one of the characters that could appear. By deleting him, we will not get him later. Alternatively, if this doesn't work, we can also just pick whoever we actually get in this race, so we can try and affect the RNG further. Anyways, yeah, if you're wondering, yes, we are now going for the most common rarest character in the entire game. It's Fishbones, and the only way to consistently get it from me is to do Dry Bones Burnout, and then send that to Toad's Factory. By doing this particular intermission, you get the best chance of getting this to happen. And yes, we are doing auto-accelerate each race too. This is mostly so we don't have to control the second player for a while. And that he'll jump and do some tricks automatically for us. So we can basically just focus on trying answers. Let's go ahead and just throw these away so we don't have to deal with that. Alright, now we stop here with our second character. And yes, I probably should have known by now, the item box setup is actually an illusion. And I mean it literally with, like, a truth of the word. That always shows up on the reels, but you can only get Kamek to show up if you're a certain distance away. So this one, thankfully, is fairly simple to set up. We just need to get as close to the goal as possible within about this distance without going too far, and then on this item set, we're just gonna basically keep turning around until we get what we need. Again, we're getting triple mushrooms and greens. Triple mushrooms actually normally means we're a bit too far back, but we are also still getting greens, which means we should be the right distance to get Kamek. If you're getting too many bananas or that means you're too close and Kamek will never show up. And yes, if you do not get Kamek to show up for a certain long time, you may want to as well just refresh the whole game. And just so you know, yes, I never actually planned on cutting any of those setups. I do want to show where the best course usually is to get these, just to prove to you guys that this is where you want to go should you want to use the track. I think part of the reason why I initially started cutting before is because I was literally just getting unlucky. Kamek refused to show up for me for like so long. It was so annoying. Never seen that much bad luck before. I'm sure I was just on a terrible RNG pattern. This might be too close, actually. I saw triple mushrooms. Does that mean we're not close to that? Yeah, well, we cut away. We're getting a lot more mushrooms. Triple mushrooms, I believe, means you're usually too far away. Alright, did that correct to the bit? It is very important that you adjust the distance every now and then if it didn't work. Because I believe it just uses the distance when you hit the item box to determine when you actually get the item. So if it's not at the right distance, Kamek will not happen ever. It's a little weird, but that's just the way it works. The last time I did this, I was a little bit farther back, so it's possible I'm not close enough, or not enough away. Wait, maybe triple mushrooms isn't. We're still getting greens, which tells me we probably are the right distance. We're just getting unlucky again. Although, actually, now come to think of it, the game really wants to give us triple mushrooms. That tells me probably need to be farther back. Okay, not changing. Pretty much anything including red shells, any other types of shells, blues, occasionally sometimes the same unit is usually good. Oh, we're getting feathers. Yeah, we're not changing. Feathers also is another sign. Feathers probably the biggest sign of all. If you get a feather, usually, that means you're the right distance away to potentially get Kamek. Single mushroom's also okay, because single mushroom just kind of appears whenever. So, again, that's okay. I think the last time I initially did this took a while. I think nothing's changed, so we're just gonna keep trying. Again, sometimes you'll just get a really terrible RNG pattern, and Horizon just doesn't want to show up. I don't know what causes it. It just happens. Alright, I'll give him one more time. I was about to say, is he gonna show up here? Nope. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, after adopting a new strategy of spamming the item, Kamek finally showed up again. Had to refresh once because the RNG was being really terrible. Okay, I think that was a bug sap, so I think it actually can give me dry bones, because, like, when it happened, I did not even get transformed at all. That meant that the RNG picked a different character than what we wanted. So I think it tried to turn us into dry bones, but because we're already dry bones, it didn't work. So I guess that can still happen. It just doesn't transform you at all. So I'll see you guys when we get Kamek next. Couple of resets and some annoying waits later, Kamek finally decided to show up again. I changed my character because, as it turns out, apparently dry bones causes a bug on this, and yeah, I think either Kamek didn't transfer me or to do it into dry bones. See, like, there, it didn't do anything. But it also messed up the fish segment. So by having it as dry bones, it actually messes things up. But it also gave me dry bones instead. So, there's where the real troll setup lies in. Apparently, fish bones is just a rarer version of dry bones. So don't use my bones there, or that might mess up. But you could also use it to try and influence stuff, but it's kind of different for this character. For some reason, for specifically Hands and Fishbones, since they're considered the same entity, I think if you play one of the characters, it stops both of them from appearing. So right now, my only option is to pick Pinata instead and just hope that we get lucky. So yeah, I just throwing, if you guys wonder why a bug happened, well, that's because I was dry bones, but the game wanted to turn me into dry bones. So because it didn't, it did something different instead. I also just realized the segment might be messy up itself. I actually usually had better luck doing this one if I just picked any normal character instead of the other character, because this one tends to be a little bit weird, so we'll actually just start picking Yoshi again. I was initially going to do this before. I just thought I would use that at least a couple of times, because this can help you get certain characters sooner, but it really just depends on who you're getting. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a minute when we get the transformation occur again. Yes, you finally decided to show up after more than an hour. Yeah, I had to change characters and everything, and wow, okay, well, that actually is preferred. This is why I went to this sooner, by the way, because Coin Coffer can actually show up anywhere, and yeah, we just got him just like that. So now we just have Fishbones left. Oh, man. That was a very bad pattern, just so you know, guys. I had to restart race 3 times because of terrible RNG patterns. But anyways, as you can see, we unlocked Coin Coffer. Let's just mash him with both characters this time. Now, there is generally a cooldown before Kamek will show up again, but since this is going to be the same thing, it'll be fun. Coin Coffer, normally you'll want to just go to some other spots, but anyway, Coin Coffer has a unique mechanic, though, as well. He will just show up whenever he chooses to. Sometimes he'll just show up randomly. And, yeah, we're gonna actually get out this, just setting it up so that the game hopefully triggers the cooldown. But anyways, normally Coin Coffer, you'll want to go to Crown City for him. But like him and Charging Chuck, apparently they can just spawn anywhere. In fact, any character, I think, can spawn anywhere in any world setup. They're just rarer than others. So by doing this route, we have a much more chance of getting fish bones. The problem is, fish bones is unique. Unlike the other characters, which at least have somewhat common spawns in other areas, Fishbone is just incredibly rare. I think the last time I went for him, I only got him after like 4 times or whatever. So yeah, anyways, I'm not gonna show all of this because, well, now we know which track to do, and also we actually got an unlock at the very least, so it wasn't terrible. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys in a little bit. I had to change characters, by the way, because I think Dry Bones was kind of causing a buzz, so I'm just kind of using random characters to prove that you can indeed do this with just any character. It's just harder to do so. The problem is, Fishbones, I don't think there's a way to, like, better manipulate them. You just have to get whatever. Though, if you do start getting one character over and over again, you may want to play as them. Unless it's Dry Bones. Don't ever pick him. Because I believe Dry Bones will actually mess up this RNG setup. Anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys in a minute. Now we're almost half an hour later. Kamek is back, baby. This is definitely been one of the hardest dice to unlock so far. Okay, we finally got it. Alright. We are done with this nightmare, dude. We have now unlocked all the characters. Because this took so long, I'm gonna style on Mario right now. Obviously, it's already going to be styling, but I've decided we're gonna have a race now. I put him as an all-out controlled bot. He's still pretty far ahead. We're gonna see if we can beat him. So yeah, let's beat Mario once and for all. And then we can stay around knowing that we've now unlocked every single character in the game and we never have to do this again. So, because this took so long, we are going to have a race and see if I can beat Mario. And no, this is not a weird statement. You can make characters do absolutely nothing. And as long as they have automatic steering, they'll still mostly play the race. Of course, it has a few disadvantages for the player who is in that main, because obviously they cannot do certain segments, though they will still trick. That I found is quite weird. But yeah, we're going to see if we can beat Mario to the finish line here. I honestly don't care if he wins. I just would like to I want him at least a little bit. We are not getting good items now that we're done here. What if we got a Kamek again, by the way, while racing? That would be so hilarious. Oh, okay, we're gonna catch him in the straightaway. There we go. We are back in the lead. Surprisingly, you accelerate much quicker than I expected. They certainly made the bots somewhat smart with this. They will often actually do, except for doing weird feds, they at the very least know how to accelerate. So, yeah. Alright, well, there we go. We styled a Mario by beating him in the race. Good for us. Good for us. Alright, let's get out of here. We're gonna move to single player now, just to prove that we've unlocked everything. So now if we did everything correctly, whenever we go to single player, there will be no Piranha Plant Goomba icon anymore. We'll just go to whatever. We'll just do Grand Prix, whatever. So yeah, we got Fishbone. So I guess I'll just show all of the potential lockable characters you can get. So we have Psyche here. Forget where I got him. I think I got him randomly. Quack is usually from Peach Beach. Pinata can also be found in Peach Beach, but also in any other ocean area for that regard. Hungdor is exclusively usually found in faraway oases. Rocky Wrench is in... told you, I think. He's in Airship Fortress. That was the first one we were grinding for quite a bit. Did not work, though. Then Swoop is usually in Dandelion Depths. Peepa is very rare. only found in Busona, yet we got him on our first try when we came back. Coin Coffer can spawn anywhere, but it spawns more frequently in the other area that we mentioned. Elephant spawns most frequently in Hoopa Chupa Beach. Then Parabidibud, I believe it's also just a default lockable, though, so I don't think we need him. Charging Chuck can also spawn anywhere, but he spawns most commonly in Chocolate Mountain and occasionally other areas. And yeah, as you can see now, there is no question mark icon by the end this time. That means we have all the characters unlocked, which proves that we do indeed have all of that. But then, probably most annoying of all is Fishbone. This guy gave me a lot of trouble. Because he can only be unlocked in that one area, generally. He'll just not show up anywhere else. The game makes you think he could show up anywhere, but no. They actually can only show up in certain areas. And the reason why we had to go from Drybone's Burnout to Toad's Factory is this gave us the most frequent chance of actually getting him to appear. But otherwise, yeah. There you go. That's proof that we've done all the characters unlocked. That is another thing done with our 100%. I'm so glad we're done with that, because that was the most frustrating RNG segment I've had to do for a while. Hopefully, in the future, Nintendo makes Kamek more frequent, because that was really dumb how long they made it take. I'm pretty sure if enough people bug Nintendo about it, they'll probably make the Kamek item more common, especially after seeing it today, and you never know. But, in the meanwhile, don't forget to actually quit out of the game after you get Kamek. That did at least somewhat help me out a bit. By resetting to a fresh RNG pattern, I was able to get Kamek to appear a bit more often. In fact, in one of my practice, I got Kamek 3 races in a row doing that strat. So it is definitely feasible to get it that way. Well, anyways, there you go. We got all the lockables for characters, and I'll see you guys in the next video where we'll just probably chill and go back to mode for a bit before going to time trials, maybe. See you guys until then, later. Bye.